Welcome to Elementary Algebra, Chapter 1, Fundamental Operations. The book is by Harold Jacobs. I'm your presenter, Molly Crocker, and this material is copyrighted. Chapter 1, Lesson 1, we are going to talk about translating English to addition. Well, there's a definition of algebra from American Heritage Dictionary that says algebra is that branch of mathematics in which symbols, usually letters of the alphabet, represent numbers and express general relationships that hold for all members of the set. So, what makes it algebra? Well, what do you want to call it when you don't know what it is? We can draw pictures, and in the introductory lesson, we used a square to represent an unknown quantity. It's much more convenient to give it a letter name, since all those boxes and circles can get tedious. If I had you draw 7 circles and then asked you to multiply it by 8, you would be drawing 56 circles. We need a better way. We're going to illustrate an unknown quantity with a box, and we don't know what's in the box. And the variables are things that are represented by letters, and they're called variables because sometimes we don't know what they are, and sometimes we want to make the quantity vary to see what happens. We'll plug different numbers into that variable, such as in first let x be 1, then let x be 2. More on that later. Quite soon, but later. This lesson is about addition and how we translate English to math. First, when you add, the answer is called a sum, as in, the sum of 2 and 3 is 5. We could also say 5 is the sum of 2 and 3. Notice that the word is represented in math by an equals sign. It's the verb. Other things that could be translated to equals might be most forms of the verb to be, such as is, was, were, are, will be, and sometimes would have been, could have been, should have been. You'll notice that the order of words in math is sometimes different than the order of words in English. This is a problem in translation between any two languages, and algebra is very much a language with different grammar than English. Here are some phrases that mean to add things together. Look for the underlined words. 5 added to 4 would be 5 plus 4. 5 and 4 more. And means add. 5 and 4 more is 5 plus 4. 5 more than a number. More than in this case means add. 3 of these things and 4 of those things. When we have two different kinds of things, we're going to let some of them be x's and some of them be y's. And we'll have 3 of those, 3 of these, and 4 of those. When we use variables and see a phrase like the sum of a number and 4, we could translate that as x plus 4 or 4 plus x. When you're looking at the answers to your homework in the back of the book, and the order of the pieces are different from the ones you put in, did you do it wrong? Well, if the expression can be arranged and mean the same thing, then probably not. That happens in translations. More on that later. By the way, pieces or expressions that are added and subtracted are called terms. In arithmetic, you may have heard the word addends or minuend and subtrahend to talk about parts of an arithmetic problem. Those words are used by arithmetic teachers. In algebra, we're going to refer to pieces that are added and subtracted as terms. Terms are things that are added and subtracted. Say it with me. Terms are things that are added and subtracted or subtracted. One more time. Terms are things that are added or subtracted. Here's how we might translate a picture to a mathematical expression. On the left, 4 sections of 1 centimeter are marked off, 4 centimeters. In the middle is a section of unknown length. We're going to call it x centimeters because we don't know what it is. On the right, there are 2 more sections of 1 centimeter each. So from left to right, we can write this as 4 plus x plus 2. We can condense this expression a bit to 6 plus x. Do you see why? And finally, the order doesn't matter when we add, so we could also write it as x plus 6. Your homework is going to ask you to translate some pictures to math and translate some math to some pictures. Here's an example of translating a picture to math. We see 4 circles and then 3 circles. And we're going to be consistent. The circles are not going to represent unknowns. The circles are going to represent 1, like a penny. So this expression translates to 4 plus 3. Here's that example from the previous slide. Let's do another. A box and 2 circles translates to what? What's the box supposed to represent? An unknown quantity, x. The circles are units, so x plus 2. One more. We have 2 unknowns and 1. What's the expression that represents this one? 2x plus 1. Here's another example of a picture to translate to math. A piece of unknown length added to a piece of length adds up to what? What's a way to say what the question mark represents? You might read an instruction that says, write an expression for the length represented by a question mark. Here's one I'll make up. Each row that Edna knits needs to have 1 more stitch than the previous row. If she knitted 24 stitches for the first row, how many stitches will there be in the next row? How many stitches will there be in X rows after the first row? Edna would have to add X stitches, so there would be 24 plus X. If she needed Y stitches for the first row and wanted to add 1 more stitch to each row, what's a way to say how many stitches there will be in X rows after that? Y plus X. Let's talk about the homework. The Set 1 problems for a lesson are usually review concepts you should know from arithmetic or concepts developed in previous lessons. I know that calculators are very handy, but try to do this lesson without one. If you need scratch paper, then show your work right on your page. It might look clean and neat to do it somewhere else and then just write the answer down. But as an instructor, I want to see all of your hard work. You did it somewhere. You should show it right here. I want to see all of your blood, sweat, and tears. I will show you how I want it done in the next video. Let's summarize lesson 1 of chapter 1. The answer when we add is called a sum. In algebra, the expressions that are added are called terms. Phrases that mean to add include, and there may be more than these, sum, added to, and, more than. And finally, the order of things that are added does not matter. That's all for now.